Okay, graphing shortcuts should be something we're already familiar with. We're going to use slope-intercept form. All right, it's called slope-intercept form for a reason. It's made up of the slope and the y-intercept of a graph. Okay, so I gave you some details here on these. The m and the b are the two important variables. The x and y are just a coordinate. Y equals mx plus b is our slope-intercept form of an equation. M gave you some cue words here. M is move. It's how you're going to move once you've plotted your y-intercept. It's also the slope, rise over run, delta y over delta x, a lot of things to remember it by. There's also the b value, and again, the cue word there would be begin. So that's the first point that we plot. It's the y-intercept starting value. And here are the steps listed out to graph these. First, verify that the equation is in y equals form. Second step, plot the b value on the y-axis. A plus b would be up, a minus b would be down. From that point that you plotted is when you move. The top number of the fraction is up or down. The bottom number of the fraction is left or right. Repeat that step as many times as you need to until you have the graph. So let's take a look at an example here. Graph the equation using the table provided. We're not going to do that. We're going to use shortcuts. Okay, I've copied the steps here. Again, verify that it's in y equals form. It is. Y equals 3x minus 5. Plot the b value on the y-axis. So a minus 5 is going to be down 5, okay, to plot that point. Okay. And then the slope is 3. Now keep in mind that's not written as a fraction, but we could write any whole number as a fraction, 3 over 1. So the top number of the fraction is your up or down. The bottom number of your fraction is your left or right. So remember that up is positive, down is negative, left is negative, right is positive. So I'm going to go up 3 and right 1 because they're both positive. Up 3, right 1. And I can repeat that step as many times as I need to, okay, until I have enough points to draw my line. We use rulers to draw lines. Make sure that you extend those lines all the way across the graph. Okay, and that would be my line 3x, okay, minus 5. All right, moving on to the next example. Here we have y equals 2/3 x, so we verified that it is y equals form. Okay, and from that point we're going to first plot our b value. So I look at this and I say, okay, well, there is no b value. Well, if there is no b value, then we assume that the b value is 0. So that's a plus 0. That means our graph starts at the origin. All right, again, our slope fraction now is a fraction. So this would be up, and this would be right because they're both positive. So I go up 2 over 3. Up 2 over 3. You know, and I can do that as many times as I want. But 2 points and a ruler are enough to give me a line. So remember that, 2 points and a ruler. Okay, you need to use a straight edge. If you're at home and you don't have a straight edge, you know, just use the side of your book or the side of you know, your calculator case or whatever, and that will be our line there. Y equals 2/3 x. And one more example here. We're going to do is y equals negative 5/2 x plus 3. So we're going to get a look at a negative slope here. That makes them a little different. It's y equals form, so we're okay. This is our beginning value, so we begin at 3. So I go up 3 and plot my point. Okay, my negative 5/2 x is my slope. Because the negative 5 is negative, I'm going to go down first. But the 2 is positive. Okay, so that means I'm going to go to the right for the 2. So they're each specific and they're each their own. So don't assume that because the 5 has a negative, you know, the 2 is negative as well. They're, you know, they're their own numbers. So down 5 and then right 2. And again, I can do that as many times as I want or as many times as the graph will allow me. And once I have what I feel are adequate points, I'm going to draw the line. Extend that line all the way across the graph, please. And that will be the graph of the line negative 5/2 x plus 3. One small thing to point out here as far as slope is concerned is that if a line is increasing from left to right, like this line, this has positive slope. So just a little review here. This will be positive slope. It's going up from left to right. And then this line here is going down from left to right, so this has negative slope. It's just a way to spot check yourself. So you look back at your equation, you say, okay, did my equation have a positive or a negative slope? It had a negative. So my line should be going down from left to right. Okay, I look back at this equation, did my line had positive or negative slope? It had positive, so my line should be going up left to right.